Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. Today, we've got Kirkland Lake Discoveries on the show to talk about their drill results from early this morning. 31.38 meters of 1.22% copper, 36.5 meters of 1.03%, and 27 meters of 1.2% copper equivalent from surface, and makes a new gold discovery 2 kilometers northeast of Winnie Shaft. Great news, Stefan.
This is fantastic news. I am beyond excited, Alan. This was more than I'd hoped for. We knew there was going to be copper with those sulfides. They were pretty evident, obviously, from the drill core. But the thing that I'm incredibly excited about is these cyanite discoveries. Like the Kirkland Lake camp is known for cyanite quartz hosted golds. It's like exactly what we would have hoped for, right? And we
Yeah.
ended up hitting that on two holes that were these Hail Marys, and both of them hit. So yeah, no, this is a great release.
Yeah, well, intrusion related gold deposits are important in Kirkland Lake, and having those early stages, of course, only a couple holes into them, is very exciting. Folks, for those non-geologists out there, intrusions are bodies that can either host gold, or what always got me excited about this project was I'm going to get down to this map here, was here's your outline of your big intrusion, and the copper is found at the contact of the intrusion and the country rock on the perimeter of it, making for a huge discovery. But now you've got evidence that in the drill hole that the intrusion also has gold mineralization in it. Very exciting stuff, Stefan.
Yeah, the that was the hope, was that we were going to end up with two mineralized systems, like two different styles of mineralization. Especially once we got into those rocks and we saw that it was cyanite and we saw that it was altered cyanite. Those are the things that you're looking for. And then having the results coming back that it is mineralized is huge, because it really does open up this entire egg, right? And with the MT surveys coming back, it's going to allow us to get more detail and more resolution down to that 2 kilometer marker, where it's going to show these are pockets, or this is where we had folding, or this is where some cracks are. And so it really opens up the different aspects of it. And so we're still waiting on the final products, but the preliminary results from that MT survey are very, very interesting. So it's going to take a bit of time. Probably have another 2 weeks until we get those results back. But that's going to help guide the next round of drilling.
You know, a lot of people, they don't get excited about geophysics, but I do. I had a mentor in geophysics that was at one time the world exploration manager for Anglo. And he taught me a lot about geophysics, everything I know pretty much. And one thing that he always talked about is he said sometimes the magic works and sometimes the magic doesn't work. In this case, the magic is working, and that's very exciting that you're doing. This geophysics that was done in the past is not nearly as sophisticated as it is now. And this will give you, as you said, higher resolution at depth in 3 dimensions, folks.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see here, there's a lot of geophysical anomalies at the contact of the intrusion and the country rock. But this will not just give you anomalies that you can see from a from the plan view, but as you look deeper, it will be able to see down to 1,000 meters or more, and at high resolution. So it will give you much better targeting, which is very exciting, Stefan.
Yeah, the so it's not to throw out the magnetic data. That's the cool thing about this. And I it's almost impossible to zoom in on this, Alan, but where that drill hole went was to the northwest. And there you see it started in this purple, and then it went through blue, and then it went into green. And it was at that green almost precisely where the gold hit. And so we think we just kind of skated the side of it. And that's, it was only, I don't know, 5 meters. It's still massively significant, but there's an entire contact of that blue and green as you go to the north into the east. And so
And
like
down to the west as well.
exactly, and down to the southwest. So the if you can see, we're right on the edge of that purple and blue. And so if you go into the heart of that, you go closer to the center of it, it's more likely that you're going to get a greater intercept that goes along with it. But the fact that we threw out this Hail Mary to test this, be like, okay, well, we have this geophysical anomaly, we have this soil anomaly. Let's punch a hole in there and see exactly what it is. And then it turns out that there's gold in it and there's critical minerals in it, right? So we punch a few more holes in this area. What's going to end up coming back? That's still, that's what that for me out of everything. Like the copper is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but we almost knew that was going to be there based off of the visuals of it. It's that that 2 kilometers away you end up hitting another system altogether. We didn't get across the contact there. It's like, so we could have another copper system right on the edge of that outside of the Pluton, and then we have a gold system within it. So it's yeah, to me this is a very, very exciting project, very exciting time. The we're not hitting 100 meters of 10 grams per ton gold or anything like that, but there's still a chance we're going to find a massive system that size here. That's what I'm hoping for, is these big high grade systems.
So, folks, what I would highlight here is that this pinkish purple here, I guess it's pink. I'm a little color challenged. Um, that's your mag high, and then up here in blue is your mag low. And what Stefan was mentioning is that right at the contact of the mag high and the mag low is where the gold was located. And so you keep following that contact, and if you have better resolution of your geophysics, that will help in that. But he also talked about the potential over on this side, on the east side of the perimeter of the intrusion. That also has a lot of potential because, as you can see down here, there's a mag high associated with those drill holes.
Yeah, exactly. And that was what we originally were testing there, and we just didn't get outside of the contact. So it instead of it being the edge of the Pluton, we ended up hitting cyanite there, which was a welcome surprise. It was definitely not something that we expected. And so we didn't actually succeed in doing the drill hole that we had planned there. And so that's still something we're going back and doing. I was talking with the guys this morning, going through our next set of drilling, because it's going to be imminent. It's going to start very soon. And it's like, okay, so based off, let's say we don't have any more knowledge, we don't get anything else from this MT survey. What are we doing? What are the steps we're taking? What do those holes look like? And then we refine those holes with the MT survey as they come in. And so we still got to get across that contact and see, is there another big blob of copper on the outside of that Pluton? Because if that's the case, then let's hit it.
Now, is there any structures that are over here where the gold is? Because, structure is really important.
So there's an east-west structure that goes basically right through there. That was defined. So again, something we were talking about this morning. Drake has his GIS open, and we're going through and looking at all the different layers, and I was like, oh, is that line? Is that a structure? And sure enough, it lines up. So it's kind of like this, where the drill hole penetrated, and then it's so if that's associated with it, then again, that entire structure to the east is wide open for gold as well. So yeah, there was a structure in there too.
Good guess by me.
Yeah.
Another exciting part of the geophysics that you're running is that there is magnetite associated with these magnetic anomalies. And why that's important, folks, it's not important for the mineralization. What it is important for is that the mineralization is close to the magnetite. And so you can use that to vector in to where you're drilling for. Get that right, Stefan?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And like you go back to that late August press release and you look at the core and you can see there's some core where it's this black and that's magnetite, and then right against it, touching it, are the massive sulfides. So you have the chalcopyrite, the pyrite, and that's all right abutted against the magnetite. And so that signal highlights, this high magnetism, and then the sulfides are really low a lot of the time, so you don't have that same level of magnetism, so you get this beautiful contrast. And that's why we often drill across that contact, where you see a magnetic high and a magnetic low right beside each other, because when you do that, a lot of times you're going to get this magnetite with the mineralization on the other side.
Right. So that's why you would get a mag low as opposed to a mag high.
Correct.
Got it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
And as you can see, folks, there's mag anomalies all surrounding this. Now, even this stuff up here, which looks like lower magnetism, this could also be important because depending on where the mag anomaly is related to depth, that has an impact on how the geophysics picks it up. So
Yeah.
say for example, the magnetism was right at the surface, you would get a mag high. Say it's 100 meters down, it may not look as intense unless you do what's called a slice of the geophysics. And that's where you kind of remove the top 100 meters of the geophysical anomaly, and then you see what's at 100 meters and below.
Yeah. And we have the preliminary data back, which it's not super clean and there's a lot of noise that goes along with it from the MT survey, but there's been some really big conductive bodies that were highlighted that aren't shown on our magnetics, but they're almost displaced from the magnetics. So you see the magnetics and then you switch to the other signal and it looks like they're basically north. The magnetic signal's north of it, and then south of it is this conductive body. And so it could be something where those are reflections slightly as well, where you're seeing, this displacement of the magnetics again, like you're talking about, this older data set that might not necessarily be as I don't want to say accurate because it's still accurate, but more specialized
Resolution.
in higher resolution.
Right.
Exactly. And so there's been a couple spots where it was really interesting to see that displacement. But one of your favorite areas, the orogenic gold system, we
To the
saw
east.
this beautiful conductive piece of it. And so, there's just so many opportunities with this land package, and I know you love that high grade gold that's over there.
Yeah,
It's
over here, folks, off the map a little is well, why I love it so much is that it has significant structural regime. That is what ideally you need for an orogenic gold system. And most importantly, it has high grade gold associated to that structural environment. And so that makes for a perfect, ideal orogenic gold system. And so that's really interesting. I mean, and Denny is interested in this wedge up here.
Yeah.
Look at all the structural story up there as well, folks. Some of that mag follows right along the structure. So, you know, all of this and way over here as well is highly prospective.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, Alan, is that structures a lot of times will create the space for these plutons to come in, right? And so this big triangle, it could have been the conflux of a north south and east west or north western type of structure that came in, and this pluton took advantage of this space and penetrated through that, right? Came up through there. And so that's part of it too, where the printing time frames and things like that could have all been associated. This mineralization could have come up through those cracks originally, and then the pluton follows up behind it and then cooks everything else around it, remobilizes it, and deposits it in the surrounding. So the structure plays a huge role in all of these systems. And the Larder Lake's not far away. This huge crack, right? It was less than, I don't know, 7 kilometers, I think, from the Larder Lake break. And so a lot of those fluids can come up through that huge, massive regional structure and then go into these branching structures, the second and third orders that are breaking off of it. So it's definitely still an opportunity that's being explored, and we're getting deeper into all those pieces of it.
It's interesting because as you're describing that, folks, he's describing a perfect environment for orogenic gold systems. And just so happens that the Larder Lake break is one of the two most important breaks or cracks in the earth, if you will, in the Abitibi region. And so, this is in the Abitibi, and it's an important is the big crack as well as the secondary cracks, which you can see in these are secondary cracks going north south and east west and cross cutting.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times, the reason why those crosscuts are important is that gold it needs a trap, it needs somewhere to fall out. And so when you have that crosscut, those are often really good spots for gold to get trapped. Because if the fluids just kind of come in and out, then the gold goes in and out. And so you need something to stop it in those areas so that it comes out of the fluids. And that's usually where there's a chemical change or a structural change. And when you have two structures going through the same spot, those are really good traps.
What he's describing there is what we call a dilation zones, folks. And dilations are basically where the rocks open up. Think of it kind of like a swimming pool. So the fluids can get into the swimming pool and stay in the swimming pool.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly. So we're
Now,
trying to find as many of those as we can, because the more swimming pools you find, the more gold you're getting.
you got that right. It would be interesting to do some age dating on the rocks up here and over here
Yeah,
to see the difference, which came first. I would guess this came first and this came second. And with doing some age dating on the rocks, folks, you can start to unravel that part of the story as well.
it's like you have my playbook already, Alan. So those things are already in the works. They just take time to do. So there's lots of thin sections being done, and other age dating approaches to get a really good understanding of this system for the time frame. So the Ontario government's doing a large mapping program. The entire focus has been south of our border, basically, where all the gold was. They spent so much time and money mapping um, the Larder Lake break, sorry. And what they've done is, or they're doing is, over the next 2 years, they're mapping that entire northern section as well. And so we're lucky enough that we get to piggyback with them, and they're age dating a bunch of the rocks in our area as well. So we're gonna get some free work done from the Ontario government too.
Well, that's good science because, folks, I mean, we can use a lot of really complicated wording in geology, but it's really not necessary. You need certain things to happen. You need cracks in the earth where the fluids that carry the metals can make their way up. Where those cracks become cross-cutting or contacts between, in this case, the intrusion and the country rock, that's another trap or another path where the fluids can make their way up. And of course, you need mineralization, 1.22 to 1.27 equivalent mineralization is really good. And then you've got folding in the rocks that can also play a role. But you're using sophisticated science that can also be explained in a little less sophistication, if you will, for the non-geologists out there. But my 32 years of experience kind of keeps me knowing what your playbook is all about there, Stefan.
Yeah, well, you're a great translator for the industry to the average person. So you got to keep doing that work, Alan. It's much needed.
The interpreter.
Exactly, exactly.
I'd like to take that highly technical stuff and break it down so into cracks and fluid pathways of least resistance and of course the mineralization and how the geophysics plays a role in all of this as well. And it's important that when my mentor in geophysics, when he said sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't, how you tell the difference is when it's in a drill hole, folks.
Yeah.
And so then it tells you, okay, now the magic is working.
Exactly. And I think it's funny because the to the northeast, it didn't work the way we thought, So like that was the things. We thought we were outside of the Pluton. We thought we were going, across that contact. And sure enough, we end up finding a different rock type there. But it still worked when we look at it in post and go, okay, right on that line, right where those two geophysics meets, that's where we saw the gold mineralization. So, sometimes you go into it thinking, okay, this is how we're going to prove this theory, and then you go, oh, we found something different here that's probably more exciting, at least depends which hat you wear, if you're the gold bug or the critical minerals guy. But the it's yeah, it was so fun to be able to do that and go, okay, well, this is what we're testing. And we're like, what, this isn't what we thought it was going to be, exploring under surf or undercover. And then you work through, you're like, well, we got to get through to this other side because we need to get at least this far, because we don't get that far, then we don't know what this color means or what this magnetism means on the survey. And so you get across those to basically start painting your picture and get an understanding of, okay, so this equals this equals this, and this equals this. And now we know when you go from blue to green, okay, well, that's gold in that spot. So let's find some more blue and green and see if we can, find some more gold with that.
It's interesting too that you mentioned theory. And folks, sometimes projects like this one can be broken up into a bunch of claim blocks that doesn't give you the ability to do a cohesive, big thoughts on a project. Okay. And,
Yeah.
originally this project was looked at as a VMS system years ago. And you take a lot of times big discoveries are made when you take another look at it with a fresh set of eyes and you come up with a alternative theory. And that alternative theory in this case is that it's intrusion related. And that's very exciting because all the big mines in Kirkland Lake, the big gold mines, are all intrusion related systems. And so now you're sort of proving that theory with the truth machine or the drilling.
Yeah. Well, you hit the nail on the head there because it's like the that package used to be, I don't know, let's say 12 claim blocks wide and maybe six high, right? And so you're looking at it with this very tight lens. And so the only explanation is, oh, well, this is a VMS. What else could it possibly be? Right. And then when we're looking at it with probably on that side, 20,000 hectares, you're looking at this huge area and going, okay, so we have mineralization here, 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 here. Where what could that pot? Well, this giant egg that's here, maybe that's what's driving it, right? And so you can take a look at it differently. And the only reason we were able to get all that land was because of the bear market. Because I can guarantee you this land would be going like a hotcake in this market, right? Like everybody would want a piece of it. And so, that was the only way we were able to accumulate is we were working when no one else was paying attention, nobody else cared, and we accumulated this ridiculously large land package. And then we did a bunch of work that nobody cared about. Nobody cares about soil sampling or regional geophysics. Those are the things that most people look at and go, oh,
Young, yeah,
next.
yeah,
And now it's like we raised a lot of capital. $12.7 million is the most this company's ever raised. And we're able to just put it towards drilling, right? Like as compared to a lot of companies that might be starting out, it's like, okay, well, I got to do step one, then step two, then
yeah,
step three, then
because
step
you've done
four.
all those steps. You've done the geophysics, the geochemistry, some drilling, and now, folks, it's layering one on top of the other. So even though you may not care about layer one and two, and,
We
and
do.
and you're only interested in layer three, which is the drilling, well, layer one and layer two help you to get that. So when you can put all the layers together, then you've got something very exciting, and that is what's happened here at the Kirkland Lake Discoveries project.
Yeah. No, it's a good time to be watching.
Nah, I'm more than watching, Stefan. I'm a shareholder.
I
And
like
I'm
it, Alan.
and I'm
I
gonna
like it.
be a bigger shareholder very soon because, I know how rare it is to find a project like this. And, day-to-day activity and a stock price don't really mean anything to me, other than maybe it creates an opportunity for me to increase my position. But ultimately, I'm in this because I think that this is going to turn into an important discovery, a multiple important discoveries around the edge of this intrusion that looks like an egg, but I'm also keeping it on the side of my side eye is to the east where there's this orogenic high grade gold that still needs to be understood and figured out. But if you figure something out over there, now you got two big swings at a home run.
Yeah. Let alone within that intrusion, it's like you can count the number of swings there. It's like we have
Yeah.
9 targets around it,
Yeah.
right? That
Mhm.
are highlighted that combine soil and geophysics, right? So how many of those can potentially be mines in this camp? Lots of them, right?
Wow.
So yeah, like the let alone the other side. Like we don't even talk about the east side. That's the funny thing. It's like it's kind of gone, behind the scenes because of all the excitement over here. But it's like you still have another 20,000 hectares on that side with the same kind of opportunities. And there's high grade gold over there too.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing is that in juniors, in junior exploration, you need to have capital to move it forward. I'm the cheapest CEO ever. I keep everything that focuses on working with the rocks, right? It's all about exploration. That's where all of our spend goes. And so that like a lot of people will go, oh well, you diluted by this much and da da da. It's like it's only dilution if it's wasted money. If I
Right.
increase the share value by doing good work, by doing exploration, that's what matters. And that's what you're investing in. And that's why we were able to get $12.7 million with this raise. Because people know, we set up that track record now where it's like, this is what I do. And I deliver exactly what I say we're going to do when we raise that money. right? So like last year when we raised in December, it was the smallest raise I could possibly do to make sure we got the work done, and it was to test this theory. That was what we went about. And so those investors that came in when the stock was struggling at 5 cents, they're now very, very happy shareholders. Most of them participated in this financing again because I delivered exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm going to test this. We think it's going to be this. And it turned out to be as good as what we predicted, if not
or
better.
better.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what Stefan is explaining there, folks, is everybody thinks when you do a financing that you're diluting the shareholders. Okay, it's only dilution that matters if it's wasted money. If it's money that delivers results and an appreciation of the share price, then it's what the accountants like to call accretive. And that's getting bang for your buck is an easier way to say it. And I'm very confident that you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Speaking of which, before I let you go, what is your plans for getting the bang out of those bucks, Stefan?
Well, I don't want to let too much out of the bag early here, Alan, but we're back to drilling within the next 2 to 3 weeks at the most. We have to respect hunting season in the north. It's a real thing,
Yeah.
and we can't increase the risk to any of our employees or contractors. If that wasn't the case, we'd be out there right now already.
So you
We
got a
have
few weeks to wait through the moose hunting season.
Yeah, we got to get through deer hunting. So
Deer, sorry.
moose is already going. Deer starts next week, and so like 3 weeks is kind of what we're looking at, and then we should be in there. Um,
And
I
in
don't want to
between then and now, you'll have this detailed geophysical report to help inform your drilling.
exactly, and so that's coming in, and it should be in by that point in time because we got the preliminaries about 2 weeks ago. I want to say 2 to 3 weeks now. And it was supposed to be 4 weeks total for the final product. So we should be getting that this week, next week, the week after, type of thing at the latest, which will definitely inform further. Like I said, we already have a lot of targets that we only did 1,700 meters. That's a very, very small program. This next one is going to be over 10 times that, and so we're going to have a lot more opportunities to test all these targets, right? Like we had 9 around that intrusion, and 8 of them didn't get tested, right? We only tested 1, and it ended up hitting gold. So the key thing for me is, yes, I want to expand on the known mineralization that we have and figure out the widths and breadths of it, but I also want to test this whole intrusion, because if somebody comes in and goes, okay, well, I want this, I want to make sure that I know that there's 7 other there that need to be expanded before we're selling at a lower price than what we deserve. And so for me, I'm looking at, let's get all the understanding of this intrusion and the surrounding mineralization. While we're doing that, we're still also drilling out the known mineralization. So it's like we hit something, let's expand on that area. So we're going to be able to rock 2 drills with this program. One of them is going to be staying at Winnie Lake and expanding that area, and then the other one's doing regional testing. So lots of core coming in on a daily basis. We've already set up an extended um, core logging and cutting area, because we're going to be getting quite a high volume over a long period of time. So we can't afford to have any backups. We have a second saw on site that's going to help with overlap for extra cutting, or if the other saw goes down. And so we have all these pieces in place to make sure that this is going to be the smoothest program that's possible. The last one went incredibly well, was very efficient, very fast, very cost effective. This is going to be the same. We're basically making sure that all those pieces are in place. Mike's ran, I have hundreds of drill programs over the years, right? And he's one of the best there is in the industry of making sure that this is the most efficient thing possible. He looks at all, like he as soon as we finish drilling, he's like, well, if we're going to be running another 2 drills, we're going to need this, we're going to need this, we're going to need this. And I was like, okay, let's go, Mike. Like, put it in place so it's here whenever we're starting. And so, like, those things were happening 4 weeks ago because we knew there was going to be something good here. We saw the results, we saw the visuals of them, and it's like, yeah, this is going to be something we're going to be drilling for a while. So it's like, yeah, let's activate all those dominoes so we're good to go. So to sum up the answer to your question, Alan,
Yeah,
the big drill program starting in the
few
next
weeks.
few weeks. We also sampled another, so one of the holes came back with mineralization that we didn't expect. And so the guys ended up sampling a lot more of that hole.
Oh,
And so there are actual results, still more results to come.
okay.
Um, it wasn't massive sulfide in that hole, and that was why it kind of got overlooked. But there was a lot of epidote alteration and some other alteration signatures that were happening. That was the hole to the between Mini Winnie and the Winnie Lake, the shaft.
Yeah.
So it was the hole that went in between. The one of them hit cyanite right away, and then the other one went to the northeast and was in the country rock. It came back with more mineralization than we expected, and so
Oh,
basically shoulders on all of those areas. It was just very weird rock. Like there was a lot of stuff going on, and so um, one of the areas, the zones at Upper Beaver is called Dog's Breakfast. And it's this very similar where it's this a lot of stuff going on, and it's hard to point to one thing. So
okay.
multiple phases of alteration, multiple um, mineralizing events, and that seems to be something that might be happening there because, like I said, there was more
Well,
mineralization
that's
there than we
no
expected.
slouch of a mine to be an analogy to. I think I'm liking this dog's breakfast.
Yeah, we certainly are. The guys were really excited about that because it was they end up getting the numbers back and they look at it and they go, well, okay, this is not expected. Let's figure out because they go look at the pictures, right? So they take pictures of every piece of core as it comes in and they go, okay, well, if that's mineralized, then maybe we should be getting all of this too. That looks very similar. So yeah, we'll get that back in due course here. So
Okay,
some
well, I
more,
think
lots of news flow.
you've also sort of set my schedule of interviews. I think we could do one about the geophysics, one about the drilling started, and then a series after that, a drill hole related assay results. How does that sound, Stefan?
I'm yours, Alan. Anytime you want to do any of this stuff, I love talking to you. So I'll be happy to join you.
Well, I'm glad for that because in my audience, we've got a lot of Kirkland Lake Discoveries shareholders, including myself. And so it'll be great to keep people informed along the way. And by the way, folks, I recently was interviewed myself, and somebody asked me because I now put rocks and digital marketing, not on the same priority, but I believe that the digital marketing is really important because there's a lot of investors out there, and that's how they find out about these things through social media sites like X and YouTube. And the interviewer asked me, "Well, who's doing it right, Allan?" And right away, without a second of hesitation, I said, "Stefan at Kirkland Lake Discoveries, because you guys do a lot of videos and you're bringing your audience into the process of searching for buried treasures." And I love
Yeah.
that, Stefan. I think more companies should do it. So I'll be happy to have you on future shows, and also recommend people to go to your website and check out all the videos that you guys do showing the core, showing how you're going about doing the treasure hunt.
Yeah, I think that's the most fun is especially so back in November we called it Treasure Hunters. So November last year, we called it Treasure Hunters, the road to discovery. And so it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we were like, oh yeah, we know we're going to find something here eventually. Let's just do it. And then sure enough, we end up with two discoveries now, and like two brand new things that nobody
Okay,
else has
on
ever
that
seen
note,
before.
let's change it to the road to a mine.
Ah, that'll be season three. That'll be season
Okay.
three. We're still unlocking all the discoveries. There's a lot more to come, I think, Alan.
Oh, I like the sounds of that. You got me really excited now, Stefan. Well, thank you very much for your time. I think we did a good job of talking about the news and what's upcoming. So, unless you got something else you think that's important,
No, we'll be back in no time at all to talk about the geophysics.
awesome.
Uh,
Thanks, Stefan. So, as
Thanks,
always,
Alan.
folks, do your homework, speak with your financial advisor before making any investment decision. I have done my homework, extensive homework actually. This is a top of mind pick for me lately because I see a lot of great stuff coming for this company and what they've found already. Bear in mind, folks, this is their initial stab at it. And they're already getting joy, as we say, in the drilling. So stay tuned for more. Do that homework. I think informed investors are always the best investors because they make decisions based on logic, reason, facts, data, and they don't make it based on emotional action in the day-to-day fluctuations in the stock price. So be that kind of investor no matter what sector you're looking at. On that note, everybody have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.